Plot twist. Becoming the villain in your own story is actually one of the key things that can propel you forward in your journey of becoming the woman of your dreams. Hear me out, okay? Because I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, well, Tony, the villain always loses in the end. The villain has always got an evil plot twist and something sinister and all that. No. Let me explain right now. This is not about pulling on evil energy. This is not that. This is simply looking at the villain's characteristics, because one thing that the villain always does is they hold themselves accountable. And one of the key things that we need to remember in order to become that woman of our dreams in every season that we go through, we have to hold ourselves accountable. So rather than this being about pulling on villainous energy, dark energy, all of that, this is simply about being able to point the finger at yourself. Instead of us trying to point the finger at everybody else around us for our decisions, for our bad choices, no. We are going to use the villain characteristics so that we can begin to hold ourselves accountable and actually start making the choices that we need to in our lives if we want to become that best version, becoming that woman of our dreams. Welcome back, my loves, to another video. If this is your very first time, my name is Tony, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a lot a bit goofy, not a little bit. So I'm definitely trying to contain myself today. I'm just in really good spirits today. And I really pray that that just rubs off on you. Like, let me give you some of that. If you are more interested in the style, the beauty, the glam, all of the cutesy stuff, you can definitely reach me on my short form platforms. Links are down below, because here on YouTube, it's all about the self-growth. It's about developing. It's about becoming that best version of ourselves. So that's enough rambling. You guys know who I am now. I've given my introduction. So now let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation. So like I mentioned, this is not about drawing on darker energy. Obviously, you guys can see I'm a very light person. Like, I love to smile. I love to be goofy. I love to just be full of light. So me pulling on darker energy does not match my personality. It does not match who I am. So for instance, let's look at the femme fatale archetype. Like, if you're familiar, femme fatale archetype, there's several archetypes, by the way, but that one in particular is like your seductress, deep, mysterious woman. You don't know whether she has evil intentions or whether she has good intentions. Like, she's kind of like that dark aesthetic vibe. Well, we're not pulling on that energy, but if we look at that type of woman possesses certain characteristics that just embody power, basically embody boldness, embody strength. I think it's safe to say when we're looking at that type of woman is very unapologetic. That unapologetic attitude is one of the things that I want you to grab and hold on to tightly, because that is one of the key factors that you are going to need in order to really truly become that woman of your dreams, because you're going to have to set a lot of boundaries. You're going to have to be accountable. You're going to have to show up boldly. These are things that you want to do unapologetically. I want you to comment down below if you can resonate with this, but I feel like I haven't yet even become the woman of my dreams because I haven't demanded it. Like, if we're looking at the villain character, right? Think of a movie or something like that if you need to just call on for reference. But when we're looking at the villain, anything that they're trying to do, they are demanding it. So we don't even need the evil energy or nothing like that. We don't need to pull on that kind of energy. We just need to start moving about in our own lives where we are demanding the respect. We're demanding the boundaries. If there is something that we're trying to achieve, we demand it of ourselves to make sure that we're doing everything possible that we can in order to reach that goal. We have to be resilient. Demand resiliency of yourself so that you don't lack and that you don't go through this change being lazy. Any road you travel down is going to be unfamiliar territory, and that's part of the reason why we lack consistency sometimes in traveling down these different roads, because it's unfamiliar. We're trying to stay consistent when we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what's gonna pop out. We don't know if the road is gonna start turning left or right. We don't know. So we kind of lack that consistency when we're in unfamiliar territory. But when you're demanding certain qualities of yourself, you start demanding being consistent of yourself regardless of what the road looks like, that's going to keep you going. So that is one of those great qualities, again, of being that villain, becoming your own villain and demanding of yourself, I am going to be consistent. And it's not about necessarily becoming harder on yourself or putting too much pressure on yourself. But if you want to change, you're going to have to be like, look, I got to do whatever I got to do. I got to demand. Let me fix my phrasing. I'm trying to get better about my words. I have to demand, not I gotta. I have to demand of myself to go down this road, regardless of whatever, fear, all of it. I am going to go down this road. So when you travel down this road, you're going to use that unapologetic attitude, that unapologetic characteristic that you're going to pull on from that villain version of yourself. And honestly, when you do that, it's going to completely annihilate self-pity. For me personally, I know I've been in those moments where I'm like, oh, nothing's working out. I'm trying my best, but it's just not happening for me. I'm just gonna quit. I'm just and you just sit in that. That is one of the worst feelings. Like, first of all, it's so draining to be in self-pity. But on top of that, it's annoying. Like, I get annoyed with myself when I've been in moments like that of just pure on self-pity. And I'm like, girl, if you don't get yourself together and get up, I don't even want to hear you complaining. And it's me. But like I said, with that unapologetic attitude that you really start embracing, that self-pity gets wiped away. And you demand of yourself to not be in that kind of headspace anymore. And you demand that even if you fall down a little bit, that you're going to pick yourself back up. So you guys know I love my examples, and I really wanted to find an example of somebody I felt like embodied villain characteristics, but they weren't necessarily the villain, right? They just had certain characteristics that made them bolder, it made them strong, it made them sure of themselves. So I got to do a flashback. I'm a big 90s movie kind of girl. I'm born in the 90s. 90s was the best era, and I'm talking early 90s. I'm not talking late, Gen Zers. I'm talking early 90s. Anyway, I love 90s movies, so I got to kick it back to 1992 when Boomerang came out. And yes, I am talking about Miss Jacqueline, okay, in my Strange voice.
According to Jacqueline.
I'm talking about Miss Jacqueline Broyer off of that movie. She was somebody who embodied villain characteristics, but she was not necessarily the villain of that movie. What? Y'all see my earring just fall out of my ear? She most definitely had villain attitude, but she was not a villain. She just possessed the attitude and demanded her respect. Like, look at how headstrong her character was. Look at how she could not be manipulated by anybody. She knew exactly what she wanted. When I think of the version of myself, when I actually get to the woman of my dreams, that is exactly how I envision myself. I envision myself very headstrong. I envision myself knowing exactly who I want to be, what I want, what I'm trying to accomplish, like, and not wavering. I feel like that's the biggest mistake that we make, is when we think we know and then we waver, and then we go through this motion of trying to figure it out all over again. Her character was very unwavering in what it was that she was trying to accomplish. She was sexy, baby. She was sexy. She was a seductress. But I want you to look at how her character was. Yes, she was a seductress, and she seduced Marcus when she felt like it, but she didn't have anything to gain. Like, she already was the boss. She already had the position, and she got what she wanted because, again, she was headstrong. She had charm. She had wit. She knew exactly what she wanted. She was educated. Clearly, if she was the marketing director or whatever, she used all of that to get her position. Whereas on the flip side, we saw Marcus use his sex appeal to sleep with Lady Eloise. Like, he slept with her. So he, most time women are looked at like, oh, they use their sex appeal and they seduce men and all that. It was flipped. So like I said, When I think of a woman who has villain characteristics, but not necessarily a villain and doesn't have evil intentions, it is Jacqueline Broyer's character. I want to dive into the accountability piece for a second. Hold on, y'all. I'm thirsty. I want to dive into that because you guys, life is going to bring you so many seasons. Okay, let's just start off with that. Life is going to bring you so many seasons. Like right now, I honestly feel like I'm in a season, and I've been in this season for a very long time, and I honestly feel like it's because I lacked accountability. Like I told you guys on the last video, I had kind of been feeling stagnant again, feeling that feeling of being on a hamster wheel, and oh my gosh, my life's not going the way I want to. I haven't moved, I'm still stuck. But being in this season, and like when I got myself back on track, kind of, just came back into the present moment, I'm like, I haven't been as accountable as I should have. I have tried to place the blame of some of my choices and some of the aftermath of the, choices I made onto other people or to system issues or this or that, instead of like taking true accountability and saying, well, Tony, you could have made a different choice. You could have done something differently. So I'm getting to a point where I need to demand of myself to be accountable of myself. So again, I want to pull on that villain characteristic and make that a demand in my life. Obviously, if I'm trying to get to that next phase, and I really do want to elevate into that woman of my dreams, the woman I envision, I have got to hold myself accountable for every single choice, every single action that I do. I tried my best to think about a movie where I saw a villain make excuses. I was not able to come up with one. So you tell me if you've ever watched a movie where the villain made excuses. I've never seen one. A villain never makes excuses. I don't care. Let me just go back to Inside Out 2 for a second, because I told you guys I watched that recently with my kids. Anxiety was the quote unquote villain of the movie, but was she necessarily a villain? She didn't have evil intentions for Riley. She wanted the best for Riley, just like all the other emotions wanted the best for Riley. But she did not allow herself to make any excuses in her plan of trying to get Riley to make the team or whatever she was trying to do. She even locked up poor old Sadness, put her in a bucket and pulled her to the top of the ceiling because she was like, I have a plan in place. So if we look at a movie like that, like I said, Anxiety wasn't evil. She wasn't evil spirited. She didn't have evil intentions, but she demanded that she make no excuses and that she move forward with her plan of doing what she needed to get Riley to do. When we think about accountability, we think about decisiveness in our choices. I've never seen a movie where a villain was indecisive or a villain gave the responsibility to somebody else to make the choices. So again, this all comes back to being accountable for your own choices, because this is your life. And at the end of the day, I don't care how much advice you take from somebody else, you are responsible for the choices that you make. Y'all do realize, like, this is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity for you to make some serious transformation, demanding that transformation of yourself. This is a huge opportunity for you to really fine-tune the skills that lacked in how you maneuvered and operated in your life. Like really bringing about that unapologetic attitude, demanding yourself to make these changes. This is a perfect opportunity because it's going to allow you to navigate so much better in those other seasons. Like think about it, if we just take one good season to really bring about certain characteristics, fine-tune them, really make them a part of our lives. When you enter into that next season, it's gonna be like clockwork. Like it won't even faze you because you already know how to navigate, how to operate, what you need to do, what you don't need to do. Now I wanna ask you a question. What does your dream woman look like? Like, do you honestly know? And please don't tell me that it looks like any influencer's life that you've seen or you may follow. Please, no. What is your dream woman? What does she look like? I'm asking this question because we have a lot of influencers in the world, and we're being influenced even when we don't really realize we're being influenced. So I want to ask you that because I want to ensure that the woman that you're actually trying to become is crafted and tailored specifically to your goals, your desires, specific to you. It's easy to start crafting your life in the likeness of somebody else that you see that maybe you admire. For me personally, I'm still on this journey, I guess you could call it. I'm still trying to understand all of the pieces of the woman that I'm trying to become. I am an extremely goofy person, okay? I love to laugh. I have days where I want to be super fashionable, and I have days where I want to be a minimalist. I have days where I want to be very chill, and I have days where I just want to go out and have fun. There are a lot of layers to myself, just like it's a lot of layers to yourself. So you have to figure out what is going to be the correct amount of portions or percentages in order to create this woman of your dreams. I want you to think about it like a pie chart. What percent do you need out of each area that is going to craft your perfect dream woman version? Okay. I want you to really sit and think about that. Like, that's something I've really been sitting and thinking about because, again, being a social media content creator, it's easy for me to look at other people who might be a little bit further along than I am and try to craft certain pieces so that I can, get to where they are. I don't need to get to where they are. I need to get to where I'm supposed to be. And that's the same thing for you. You are supposed to get to where you are supposed to be. Wherever you land, that's specific to you, not to anybody else. So I really want you guys to take some time to figure out, who is it that I want to be? Who is it that I dream of when I think about my dream version? What does she look like? What does she wear? How does she wear her hair? What is her attitude? Is she happy? Is she sad? Is she this? Whatever it is, I want it to be specific to you. Once you know the woman you're actually trying to become, a lot of the other steps become a little bit easier. Let's look at taking fear and turning that into fuel. And I actually want to go back and reference Boomerang again. So we looked at Jacqueline's character. Let's look at Angela's character. I feel like Angela, who's played by Halle Berry, Angela was the very shy, I don't want to say she was timid, but she was kind of shy. She was a little reserved. She kind of played the background, right? And then it took for her heart to be broken. It took for her to go through something that really just made her wake up and be like, you know what? This is not who I'm supposed to be. Because what did we see at the end of the movie? We saw Angela go from this shy, reserved, artsy girl, and we see her at the end, baby girl, turn into a straight boss, okay? And yeah, it sucks that she had to kind of go through heartbreak in order to get there. But I feel like if we were to apply everything that we've been talking about today, it took that one little situation for her to sit herself down and be like, you know what? What do I want for me? What do I envision for me? Those are the kind of questions that you want to start asking yourself. What do I envision for me and me only? And we saw that manifest into the physical. She ended up getting a high director job at some fancy place and all of that. Like, she did everything that she needed to do. So she took all of that fear and heartbreak and, misunderstanding. She took everything of that and she used that as fuel to really propel her forward to actually get to that version that she knew she was supposed to be. So once you really figure out, like I said, the woman that you want to be, what you envision yourself doing, what you look like, all of that, when you actually have a clear-cut, crisp picture of that in your head, you'll start to learn how to take that fear and turn it into fuel. And it'll be specific for what your journey and what your path needs. Then things like setting boundaries become a little bit easier because you're demanding it. You demand that those boundaries be in place. You demand that your boundaries not be crossed, because at that point, you're able to be like, I'm not taking that. You got to go. Like, I don't know if you guys remember the ending scene of that movie, but Angela, we saw her go from, oh, you know, Marcus, and then she was like, what you want? Why are you here? You can see that the boundaries were clearly made. So again, knowing who you want to be, it just makes it easier for all of the other things to fall in place. So you can, like I said, set those boundaries, and then you can learn how to step out of your comfort zone as well. That's a big one that I wrote down, because a lot of us let that fear kind of consume us and we get scared about getting out of our comfort zones. Well, getting out of your comfort zone is the only way, again, that you're going to elevate into that woman that you truly want to become. She takes work. She's very bold. So in order for you to get that boldness, that strength, that headstrong type of attitude, you've got to step out of where you are right now so that you can truly embody those characteristics. Well, my darlings, that is all I have for you today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. Please comment down below. Tell me what you think of this video. Tell me what was your favorite part, and then share your ideas as well. Maybe there is something that you're doing in your personal life that has helped you to really get on track for becoming that woman of your dreams. I want you to share that. Like, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here, and I cannot wait to see you guys on the next video. So until next time, bye my loves.